Welcome to the second day of the event with the Digitalization and Innovation debate of the seventh Galp Open Days, Integrating Energy and Transition. This is an interactive debate, so we will have Q&A session. You can make your questions during the debate in a Q&A chat that you can find in the right side of your screen with a question mark icon. Also, to enlarge the streaming window, you should press the slide button in the same corner. As the moderator of this debate, we will have Sir Nuno Pedras. So Nuno Pedras is the Chief Information and Digital Officer at Galp. He is also a founding member of the Business Agility Corporation and a member of Harvard Business Review Advisory Board and ScioNet organization. Nuno held multiple executive positions in several international companies in Europe, South America, and United States. And before arriving at Galp, he was heading the commercial digital transformation in EMEA regions within the FMCG industry leader. His academic background is in business administration, and he has received the executive education in IESA Business School in Madrid and the Católica Business School in Lisbon. Please welcome Sir Nuno Pedras, and the floor is yours.
Thank you for introduction, and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Digitalization and Innovation Roundtable with our amazing guests here that will give their point of view on different aspects of the theme. So everyone understands the flow of the session. I will present the guests in this virtual roundtable. We'll ask each one of to present the topic briefly and showing what is their point of view, and then I will ask their opinion individually on specific areas of digitalization and innovation. Let me start by presenting the guest I have on my right in the screen, Paula Marques. Paula Marques is an Executive Director for Business Transformation, Executive Education at Nova School of Business and Economics, and also Head of Innovation at Mercer. Paula's daily challenges are trying to answer to some of the biggest questions of human organizations these days, such as how can we help organizations to reimagine themselves? How can we create evolutionary organizations? How can we build a strong mindset of curiosity, exploration, and constant learning? Her current research is focused on two major projects. The Super Leaders Project, which pulls, among others, neuroscience, anthropology, psychology, biology research about how actually humans learn in order to adapt human learning methodologies, aiming for reaching higher impact on the executive education programs, and the Superhumans Project. How can we be prepared for the next stage? Which skills and competencies should we all develop in order to work side by side with machines? But there is not just a matter of skills and competencies and practices. Actually, it's a matter of new human mindset. And how can we help create and nurture it? Can we actually do it? Her academic background is in economics, and she also has extensive experience in auditing and consulting, previously worked in PwC, private equity and investment banking. Paula is also an author. In 2018, she launched with Ricardo Caiola The Age of Superhumans book. Thank you so much, Paula, for being here, and I hope we can know a bit more about these two amazing projects.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yes. So I'm going to stand up. I prefer to do my presentation standing up. I hate to be seated. So let me just share.
Can Paula, just before you move with the presentation, let me just present the other guest. Sorry. And then I will pass the presentation. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry for that. So my next guest is the Chief Marketing and Operations Officer of Microsoft Portugal since 2016, and his name is Andrea Rubei. Andrea, prior coming to Lisbon, was with Microsoft Italy as General Manager Microsoft Mobile Devices. Andrea was born in Rome, where he graduated from Luis University, and is a true world citizen, having lived in the Netherlands, where he worked for Cisco Systems, leading their e-commerce strategy in EMEA, in the UK and USA, where he worked for Broad Vision Inc., leading both the EMEA and the US markets. Andrea is married with 2 children and a proud Portuguese water dog. Andrea is an enthusiast in his spare time and has participated in various competitions around Europe. Welcome, Andrea, and thank you for accepting our invitation. I think it would be great to understand your company view about digital innovation.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It's time now to present another distinguished guest. His name is Emmanuel Lagarrigue. Emmanuel is the Chief Innovation Officer of Schneider Electric and a member of its Global Executive Committee. His mission is to create new profitable growth platforms for the company and to drive a culture of open and collaborative innovation. He has the direct responsibility of Schneider Electric's energy transition businesses, including microgrids, e-mobility, solar power, and the China Energy Transition Hub. He also leads Schneider Electric's venture activities, investing in or collaborating with hundreds of startups across the world. And he has led the creation of new ventures in energy and infrastructures, such as Unstructured, a joint venture between Carlyle Group and Schneider Electric, or the 5D Energy Network of companies. Emmanuel serves on the boards of Unstructured, 5D Energy USA, and GBTC. He's also board member of the Menorca Preservation Fund, a non-profit organization in Spain. Emmanuel was previously the Chief Strategy Officer of Schneider Electric. He also held multiple operational and general management positions for the company in Europe, South America, Asia, and in the United States. Emmanuel graduated from IES Business School in Barcelona, Spain, and from Insight in Toulouse, France. Good afternoon, Emmanuel, and thank you so much for being here.
Boa tarde, Nuno.
Boa tarde. Let me now present my guest on the left-hand side in the screen. His name is Félix Gonçalves, which from his experience and past, I'm sure many of you already know. Félix is an entrepreneur, executive, and researcher with more than 30 years of richly varied experience. Over the course of his career, he has been an acknowledged geoscientist in Petrobras and Ecopetrol, E&P executive in Vale ONG, CTO in EMC's Brazil R&D Center. Currently, as a partner and executive of Kognitus and a visiting researcher at University of Rio de Janeiro, he explores and develops businesses and R&D opportunities in the intersection of the petroleum, energy, and technology industries. He holds a PhD in geoscience at the University of Rio de Janeiro, received executive education at the MIT Sloan in USA and IMO Switzerland institutes, and delivered over 15 articles in peer-reviewed publications and 150 presentations in scientific conferences. Boa tarde, Félix, and thank you for your availability and for your insights with such a vast experience.
Boa tarde. Thank you very much.
Now it's the moment that I would like to ask each of our guests to give a brief presentation, as mentioned in the introduction, on how they see the subject of digitalization and innovation from their angle of experience and expertise. I would like to ask, since Paula is already ready to do the presentation, I will ask Paula then to start. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nuno. Now it's the time. Sorry for my rush previously before. I'm just going to share one slide with you. Let me see if I can have it here. Do you see the slide?
Yes.
It's good. Yes.
Dog? Do you see a dog?
Yes.
We see a dog.
As I don't see you, I believe that you see. Okay, now you're seeing a dog, so it's the password. So my provocation on the next 5 minutes for this discussion, I want you to answer to, I only have a goal, one goal and one question, is to answer to that question that you're seeing nearby the door. And that is, I want to go to the origins. I want to go to the Big Bang. When this all started, when did we humans find this completely innovative, perpetual innovative machine? And so I want to take you with me to a couple of years ago. And what type of innovation I'm talking about? We are going to assist to the Big Bang, to the kickoff. But what type of innovation I'm talking about? I'm talking about those things that we humans just add to nature, that they were not there before us. We just look at nature, we imagine things, we create it, and we just add it to nature. I want to go to those innovations, those things that they enhance, they increase, they elevate our human standards, they make our life easier. And they have also another important thing, is that they rebalance us. We are very exotic and very unbalanced beings. You don't see because there's a dog between us, but there's lots of imbalances here with me. I'm a very paradoxical being. We are contradictory beings, as you are. So we are missing pieces. We have missing pieces. And innovation, when we innovate, we are just filling the gaps with our rebalancing and with our unbalances. So that's where I'm going to focus. I'm going to go back and where science tells us that it was the Big Bang when this all started and the curve of exponential innovation started. Well, science agrees on the timing. It was about 100,000 years ago. They all agree, anthropologists, neuroscientists, historians, even paleontology, archaeology, they all agree that was about 100,000 years ago. And what happened? Where were we 100,000 years ago? That's where we are going now. Oh, some of you are saying, well, we were hunter-gatherers. We were not standing still. We're not farmers yet. We were hunting and cooking our meals. Yes, fire was important. Some of you are going to say it was fire. Fire cooked our meals. It was good for our stomach to have meat, not raw meat, but cooked meat. But it's not just that. It was not the warmth that fire creates. It was not the meat cooked. It was not even keeping wild animals away from us. It was something else. It was increasing our day. Our day didn't stop when the sun go in the sunset. Well, we had a bigger day. We could have more time in this day. So what were we doing back then with that extra time in our day? So lots of anthropologists, they discovered it very recently. They spent their all 50 and 40 years investigating contemporary hunter-gatherers tribes and hunter-gatherers humans that are contemporary of us. And they discover something amazing, that our gatherings during the day were completely different from our gatherings during the night. So apparently during the day, we just have these kinds of conversation, very operational ones, economic issues, gossip. We love to gossip during the day. But at night, we just gather around the campfire. We just go around the campfire and we tell a lot of things. We just tell our day, we dance, we sing. But the majority of the time, more than 80% of the time, it's spent on telling stories to each other. So this amazing thing of gathering around the campfire and telling stories to each other was exactly what creates empathy between us. So when I'm with you around the campfire and you're telling me your stories, I start to say, oh my God, I start to imagine, I start to creating things in my head, real and not real. And then I start to see, oh my God, I see your imbalances, I see your missing pieces. And it happens that I have something to fulfill those things. I have something that you need. Do you want it? Do you want to swap it with me? Because you have things that I miss too. So this idea of exchange, not just ideas, but actually things, we started to exchange and swapping things because you started to know that there are imbalances without fulfillment. And that is innovation. That started with the exponential curve with innovation. This idea of swapping, this idea of exchanging, it's a very human thing. Only our species does this. You know, I love Adam Smith. Adam Smith was a great philosopher besides a great economist. And once he said something that's popping in my head all the times I think about innovation. And he said, nobody ever saw a dog creating a big fair in order to exchange a bone with another dog. Only us, only humans, we create fairs in order to to exchange bones, in order to exchange things with other humans. So you ask me, just to finish, why going back 100,000 years ago, Paula? We are going to Mars next month. Why on earth do you want to go back? Because it's when we are in our crossroads, like we are today, that we should think about what was the origins, what was the beginning, what was actually the kickoff and the Big Bang. To what? To not kill it, to not annihilate it. Because sometimes we're so drunk and high with all the things that surround us that we forget these basic things. What was the Big Bang that actually made us being these exponential beings, so creative and so innovative? And let's not forget that was campfires and people around campfires exchanging ideas, stories, and doing things that actually dogs will never do. Well, and this is my provocation for this work, and thank you.
Nice provocation. Thank you, Paula. Very enthusiastic, full of energy. I would like now to ask Félix to do his introduction from his perspective, and I believe you have also a presentation to support what you want to tell us.
Yes, Nuno, thank you very much. Are you... It's okay? You can see the picture?
Not yet.
It's okay?
Yes. No, it is. Yes.
Okay. So, firstly, good afternoon. I would like to thank you for the invitation to participate in the meeting and to share some of my thoughts on this topic. I would like to start showing this nice picture that kind of portrays our context right now. As you all know, oil and gas industry is being disrupted by changes in geopolitical order, by the deep transformations in the energy landscape, and more recently, the pandemic came to accelerate this process, creating a kind of a perfect storm that will have, of course, profound impacts. It's important to remember that at the same time, it's taking place a massive digital revolution. Technologies like big data, cloud computing, artificial intelligence are transforming our daily lives and becoming digital business success factors. Okay, so in order to survive for the oil and gas industry, in order to survive and thrive with these increasing pressures for decarbonization and huge uncertainty on future oil prices, oil and gas companies will need, in my opinion, to rethink their business, operational, partnership, and innovation models. And for sure, digital transformation innovation will play a key role in this process of reinvention of the oil and gas business. But when we talk about innovation, it's important to remember that it's not only about technology. It's not about going to the supermarket, buying a bunch of technology Lego pieces and try to put them together. I firmly believe that particularly regarding artificial intelligence, that's the field of work of my company, in order to succeed with digital innovation, oil and gas companies must change their mindsets and embrace what I call here the open world, particularly in these four dimensions. Firstly, the open talents. It's been a while that the traditional employment model has been changing from a model based on full-time, long-term employees to a new model that blends full-time and short-term employees and freelancers and outsourced workers. The pandemic forced millions of people to work remotely and acted as a catalyst, opening a huge opportunity to explore more agile employment strategies. And this is particularly important for digital transformation in oil and gas because it requires teams with very, very diverse skills. Geoscientists, engineers, data scientists, data engineers, full stack developers, etc. In the second dimension, we have the open data. The open data is a concept well known that started with government information, but has already reached to the private sector, creating a lot of business value, especially in tech companies. In the oil and gas business, in the oil and gas industry, that's normally so restrictive about data sharing, is already moving in this direction. There are some open forums like OSTU, for instance, but we really need to do more. Just to give an example, in the case of AI, artificial intelligence applied to subsurface, open access to database, oil and gas fields database with 3D and 4D seismic, well logs, reports, reservoir grids, could, for example, promote the collaboration with startups and academia and lead to the development and training of better algorithms to predict, for example, reservoir properties with more accuracy. The third dimension is the open source. It's also a well-known concept. It's a software movement that promoted collaboration and continuous improvement mindsets. And in the case of AI, several organizations and companies have released machine learning codes to encourage people from other companies and organizations to test and build new applications, adapting and using the first codes. So everyone in the ecosystem can pick up the best innovations that were generated yesterday and go further the next day, creating value in a different business domain, and of course spreading the adoption of the technology. And finally, the open innovation. Open innovation is a paradigm that assumes that companies should and can and should embrace external R&D contributions from startups, from universities, from research centers, from suppliers, consulting companies, and even competitors. Some large oil companies have already made use of open innovation strategies, but for most of the industry, there is still a lot to be done in terms of accepting the lack of internal capabilities to remain competitive in the digital age. So it's imperative to rethink innovation architectures in order to promote the synergy of both internal and external work and to achieve more effective results. And finally, to close, we are definitely in times that the future is no longer what it used to be. And in times like this, we have to rethink the way we innovate. And in my view, an open approach is crucial to bring the massive influx of innovation that the petroleum industry really needs in this new era. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Félix. Very interesting. Can I please now ask Emmanuel to present his view and Schneider Electric's view about digitalization and innovation, please?
Yes, thank you, Nuno. Well, look, if we look at, let's talk about the energy transition and how the digitization of energy and the way we generate, produce, transport, share energy is going to be impacted by digitalization. So the first thing is that in the next 20 years, the world is going to become much more electric. The needs of energy are going to continue growing, but the needs of electricity are going simply to double in the next 20 years. And that's on the back of more IT. You all know that data centers are very energy intensive and very electricity intensive. That's on the back also of the electrification of a number of processes which are today running on fossil fuels, on oil and gas, and a lot of industrial processes or even some heating applications. And one of the most visible processes that is going to switch from fossil fuels to electricity is transportation. Very visible, not the major impact though. I mean, IT is a much bigger wave in terms of energy consumption than EVs, but very visible and with a fast growth. And then the last impact is coming from the emerging economies, where each time you create a middle class, you have a middle class emerging. The energy consumption and the electricity consumption, starting by applications such as HVAC, start pushing the dial on electricity. So we're going to double the amount of electricity we are consuming on the planet in the next 20 years. There is no way we can keep going, keep generating and distributing and sharing electricity as we do today. So we're not going to double the grid. It's not sustainable from a carbon emission standpoint, but more importantly, it doesn't fly from an economic standpoint. So doubling the grid would represent an investment that no government, no utility, no investor is ready to go after, especially when you have solutions which can be good alternatives. And there are two triggers of that solution, of this decentralization and decarbonization of energy. Number one is storage. One of the main issues of electricity up to now was that it was difficult or impossible to store. Now it's possible at scale and at a reasonable price. And second, digitization. And what digitization does in the energy transition, it basically enables a completely different model of exchanges of energy, electricity especially, where everybody can become a producer and exchange electricity while maintaining the grid relatively stable. We are conducting a few experiments, and actually there is one utility in Australia that's now working at scale where the utility doesn't see itself as the producer or the seller of energy, of electricity, just as a big software company that just balances the demand and the supply between the different users and producers on the grid. So this is a bit the world we are going towards, and this is the only way to tackle that doubling of the needs of electricity while staying committed to the 1.5 degree commitment of the Paris Accord. And all this enabled by two technologies, storage, and more importantly, the digitization and the softwareization of how energy is being managed and shared. Nuno?
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Very interesting. Dear Andrea, I believe it's your turn to present how a leading tech company and a strategic partner to us see this broad subject. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Let me see. Please tell me if you see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, well, first of all, very, very interesting observation from my colleagues, the previous speakers. In particular, there would be a lot also from our point of view to talk about when it comes to the future of energy consumption. As Emmanuel said, IT and technology is more and more having a lion's share on that, and definitely Microsoft has a very big and interesting keen eye on how to innovate in the future around energy consumption. Just to highlight that we recently, at the beginning of the year, announced the setting of a 1 billion sustainability fund that is really focused on funding those initiatives that are not yet at the commercial stage, but could actually really have a great impact in terms of looking at how we emit the emissions, so the CO2 emissions, how do we use energy, water, etc., etc. So it's a very big part of where innovation is going for Microsoft. Now, what I wanted to share with you today is that in digital transformation and innovation in the context of the pandemic that we've all been living has transformed and accelerated quite a lot. This picture tells quite a bit. Is a business. What it says is that it's a business of survival, meaning that all the companies, large or small, are under pressure. Of course, the ones that have more access to capital, that have more access to government aids, that are more diversified, etc., have broader shoulders. Do have obviously an advantage, and we will see for sure some consolidation. But I think what we're seeing as well is that, and here that's the reason why here the Economist is actually representing a cheetah here as an animal, is the ingenuity and the agility is also going to be very very critical, and not just the sheer force or sheer muscle. So it will be very, very important to the capacity to adapt of companies, small and big, the fact that the velocity in which they will be able to reconfigure the processes, the factory lines, starting to remote monitoring a lot of the processes that they are currently being monitored and happen physically. There is definitely a trend that is accelerating innovation, and we are seeing a much quicker adoption of new technologies, whether it's e-commerce, e-payments, remote working. Obviously, we've been all touched some in a way or another by remote working, AI, obviously, and the way we are engaging and assisting remotely our customers, etc. So it is a very ingenuity and velocity is going to be a very critical factor. We are already well into the crisis, and we are already well into navigating the current system. I don't know why the presentation is moving, unfortunately. Anyways, I wanted to show you a slide that basically says that we are navigating the crisis right now, and it was all about remote working, remote everything, and most of the companies have been seeing the pitfalls and the gaps they've been having in whether it was to arrange their workforce to remotely collaborate, or whether it was to simply sell to customers through online channel, or to assist customers through online channel. The navigating the now and the crisis is really an area where most companies have been going through. But it's very important to start planning for the next phase, which is basically starting to adapt the business models, starting to focus on value, where value is created. We're starting to reduce costs. These will be more and more drivers, obviously, for innovation, and how to restart customer demand. And then how do we shape the future? How do we shape the future in terms of where do we realize the new opportunity, the new scenarios, where is growth coming from? And here, there is an aspect which is very important that really relates to innovation. Companies are more and more, we used to say as Microsoft that every company is a tech company because technology is infusing every aspect of the business more and more. I think we can also say that, as software is enabling this digital transformation and is accelerating it, every company will, in a way or another, become a software company. The developers, what we now call also citizen developers, so not the usual, IT pro developers, but business developers are actually more and more important in a business scenario. And empowering this developer, empowering this creativity, unlocking that talent, and providing the right tools and the right clarity, it's absolutely critical. McKinsey has analyzed the correlation between developer velocity, or what they call developer velocity index, which is basically, as I said, the capacity to really unlock that talent and unlock that creativity from a development point of view, and the business performance. And has basically found that the higher developer velocity index, companies with higher developer velocity index really outperform 4 or 5 times in terms of top line growth where other companies. So it is a real critical aspect in terms of empowering businesses to really innovate where it matters. And some aspects like talent, the culture of the company really have an impact, and where we see that there is a big impact in terms of driving this developer velocity is where companies are adopting more and more low-code or no-code platforms, and the adoption of cloud together with it. These two things combined together with the capacity to unlock existing talent is what's going to drive innovation, and it's what's going to drive the opportunity for companies to grab the new areas of growth that lay ahead of them. And with that, Nuno, back to you.
Thank you, Andrea. Now that we have heard from each one of our guests, it is time that I start a round table questions to each one of you. And I would like to start with Emmanuel, asking him, based on his extensive experience, when we see that since the Industrial Revolution, the innovation curve is growing exponentially. In a world growing that fast, as you mentioned, which will be the key factors for innovation in the future, and which will be the topic for innovation in the coming years?
I think it's back to what Paula was saying. It's inherent to the human behavior. We are always going to create new things to expand. I think it's also accelerated by the way capitalism is organized. The kind of a Darwinian notion of capitalism. You have to innovate if you want to survive, because otherwise someone will serve your customers better with less frictions and at a lower cost. So that creativity also comes from there. So what's next? Definitely, we are just getting started with the energy transition. So for me, that's a big one on the agenda. Frankly speaking, if you look at the adoption curve of electrical vehicle, of decentralization of energy, all this is really going to start in 2024, when Microsoft really will be able to disconnect completely a data center from the grid. That's probably around that. So it's coming. It's relatively short term, and everything is getting organized and getting prepared. But that's probably the first one that we'll see, and always with a very strong underlying trends of more digitization and more AI, and probably the next thing, one of the big question marks is what would be the applications of blockchain. We don't know yet, right? So blockchain is a bit like HTML in 1995. We all feel and guess that it's going to be a revolution, it's going to change a lot of things, but we've seen nothing, right? So back in 1995, we had no notion of what a social media could be, or even a browser, or even a search engine, or the gig economy. Blockchain is probably at the same stage. Yeah, we saw Bitcoin, we saw a few applications, but probably nothing yet and we can't imagine what's coming. Now, the other thing with this, after this pandemic, and maybe we'll talk about that later, but we've seen the acceleration of a certain number of trends that were there, right? So many companies have had to accelerate their digital transformation because they were late. And a lot of things that have accelerated are good things and probably generate more innovations, and others are going to create more tensions, right? Now, so all the inequalities rising and rising up in many countries in Europe, in the US, and in other places. So we are living, or we are entering into times where things are going to be a bit different, and that will, and some people are pessimistic about it, and they see wars, and they see long-term deflation or recession. Well, I see a lot of opportunities for that resiliency and that constant creativity that Paula was mentioning. So full of good surprises ahead of us, probably.
Thank you. Félix, can I ask you the same question? Which will be the key factors for innovation in the future and the key topics for innovation in the coming years? Your view on that? Okay,
look, I do not believe there is a kind of a one size fits all solution for successful innovation. So. But of course, there are some factors that have been and will continue very important. So leadership and culture, strategic focus, management system, people, skills, etc. However, if I think about digital innovation, in a world where data is increasingly accessible, algorithms have become practically commodities, and computer power is increasingly available, I believe that the key topic will be collaboration. So the ability to put people together from different parts of the world with different skills to accelerate innovation somehow. And in terms of technologies, Emmanuel have already mentioned some of them, but I will keep, specifically in the field of AI, which is the main field of my company. I believe that there are some key trends that will come in the coming years. Automated machine learning is a key topic. We spend a lot of time preparing data, generating features, training models. So automated machine learning will be a very important topic in the future. Explainable AI is another very important topic. One of the, let's say, the critics about AI is because it's a black box. So it's very difficult sometimes to understand the reasoning behind some prediction or classification from a specific algorithm. So algorithms that can explain themselves to the user in terms of what is the reasoning behind the prediction will be also a key trend. And I would say that specifically in the oil and gas, in the upstream, that's my original area. I believe that it's a key topic is the ability to incorporate the physics of the process in the analysis, because most of the time it's kind of complicated to perform just a data-driven analysis. So the combination of the physics of the processes, fluid flow, thermal transfer, whatever it is, the process, the ability to incorporate part of the physics of the process into the data-driven analysis using machine learning algorithms is also a very important trend. You probably have heard about this physical informed neural networks, the PINs. I believe it's a very important topic in the future too.
Thank you. No, I think we could all have 4-hour-long discussions on many subjects. I have so many questions that I cannot. I just have to give specific and very focused ones. But it makes us to have another session on this topic with you. But I would like now to ask different questions now to Paula. But of course, feel free to give your view on the previous questions if you want to. But taking into account the projects you are leading, I would like to understand your view on the following. In a world growing digital every day, and with, like Félix mentioned, the artificial intelligence invading our daily basis tasks and activities, would or should we need to humanize our lives and our jobs in the future? Ethically, is there a limit?
Well, thank you, Nuno, and thank you for all your insights. Well, I believe it's inevitable, and we already are seeing this happen. A lot of group of scientists, they're called what you have heard this word, the third enlightenment. Everybody was hearing this enlightenment word. What is this? It happened before in our human evolution. It happened before because when we are so surrounded with machines, with machines and with mechanisms, we need to raise also the humanity side of it. Otherwise, we'll be unbalanced. Otherwise, we'll be lost. So when science can't give us all the answers that we are now making, it's time to philosophers to come in. That's what we normally say. So we have a lot of questions right now, and when AI is taking over some of our activities, it's time to make the big question is, what makes us human? What is actually being a human being? And lots of other questions. Why is this all for? Why do we innovate so much? This Darwinism idea that Emmanuel was talking about. Why do you have to be always growing and always innovating in order to survive? Why all this? And in order to do these big questions, we'll need, of course, to let the philosophers in and the humanities. So what is being predicted is that humanities or sciences that study humankind, that study humans, are going to rise in the next few decades in order to be balanced with technology and with digital. And this is one point. This is already a trend that we have been looking at it over the last two decades. But there's something else that I believe that will increase our search, our quest for humankind. And that is, we are demanding on the artificial intelligence side, on the AI side, we are demanding more, this AI, less artificial and more intelligent. The world is asking that. And in order to mimic this more intelligent AI, we'll have to mimic the only intelligence that we know. Us, we have exoplanets, we know, but there's no aliens proved till now. So we don't have another intelligence, even Neanderthal intelligence that is being now a new type of research, and it would be great to have another intelligence, not just the sapiens one, in order to contradict because we define ourselves by opposition. But till we have just one, we will have to live with that. It will have to be with us, and this point is very important for the future. In order to have an AI more intelligence and less artificial, we'll have to discover us, and we'll find exotic beings and fascinating beings that will allow us to have also more intelligent algorithms. The limits, I believe it's up to us. The question is where do we want to go? Because we will get there. That question, all the humans to make it, of course. And going back to the previous question, for me, the biggest challenge for innovation on next years, it's going to be questioning and doubt. Having doubts, what philosophy is all about. We have to questioning. Einstein questioned Newton, Beethoven questioned Mozart, Picasso questioned Michelangelo. If you don't question what's happening, we don't just evolve. And what's happening now is that we are not questioning machines. Machines are like perfect people or algorithms that give us the food, and that we just eat the food without questioning because we believe it's true. Sometimes it's wrong. So one part of the equation. So for me, it's questioning, and we hate to do it. Read those articles of Harvard and Virginia. We prefer to administrate electric shocks to us, rather than being 5 minutes to 15 minutes thinking in a room. So it's against our human quality. So for me, it's going to be, we have to be quiet in a room, thinking, just wondering what this is all about.
Thank you very much. Andrea, can I ask you the same question, since Microsoft is investing largely in AI? What will be, in your view, the importance of AI usage in the future, and if there is a limit technically or ethically, like I mentioned, for its use?
Well, first of all, I think there is as you mentioned, ethically, there's a whole conversation about the ethics of technology and how should we use technology in a responsible way. As technology becomes more and more part of our lives, this is definitely a topic that would probably need to have a discussion on its own, and which is definitely an area where Microsoft is very, very focused in collaborating with its peers and its customers and partners around the world. So very important. The ethics of technology is a very important point. I think if we look at where innovation is coming from in the next big trends, yes, AI is a big component of that. I would say the other part which really complements AI is ubiquitous computing. So the pervasiveness of computing that goes from the cloud all the way to the edge. So we've been talking a lot about the intelligent cloud and this massive capacity that companies like Microsoft and AWS and other Google and many more are building, and how power hungry these data centers are as well. We've been discussing that as well, and I think that's another area which will drive a lot the next big trend in innovation. But ubiquitous computing is, I think, it's where we will be seeing and it's already happening. So it's those devices that are basically all around us, some that we see and we use, many more that we don't see and we don't directly use, and moving that intelligence from the cloud all the way to the edge, it's the next big one of the next big driver of the innovation, because it will allow to have decisions potentially connected to the cloud or not connected to the cloud, but where it matters the most, where in the context that is actually more relevant. And so bringing that power of the compute power all the way to the edge is probably one of the most important things that we will see in the future. This together with people-centered experience. So we don't have to forget that this is the technology have to serve us, and so it is very, very important the way the experience, the user experience, the people experience, and really center it around, anything that is what our habits are, what our calendars are, what our connections are, etc., etc. So this is another very very important aspect. So I would say ubiquitous computing infused with AI. So whether it's in the cloud or on the edge, and definitely a people-centered experience. These are the areas where innovation is really coming from. And all around it, this topic of ethics. So how are we, because technology is not good or bad per se, but is in the way we deploy it, we use it, we adopt it, and the sustainable aspect of it. So how are we, how is technology driving for a more sustainable environment, more sustainable world, better mobility, et cetera, et cetera. These are all very, very key aspects where, at least from our point of view, we will see a lot of investment.
Thank you, Andrea. I would like to ask a specific question to Félix. When we go to a more daily challenges on the companies that you have worked and also that you are exposed now with Kognitus, what is the number one challenge or topic that you see in most of the companies? Because we are talking, the discussion until now, it's really about digitalization, innovation, the think forward, what will come next, what are the challenges. But the reality is that on a day-to-day basis, the companies, a lot of times, they are challenged with still very down-to-earth basic things. In your experience, Félix, what are those? The data management, the actionable insights generation, or something completely different?
Look, I had the experience to work for big oil companies and for big tech companies, and the experience to own my own small company. Kognitus is a small tech company dedicated to AI with 12 people. There are some challenges that are typical from big companies like Petrobras or Galp, for example, and the others that are more related to small companies like mine. So I would say that in the case of the big companies, with all the companies I worked for or I had the opportunity to work with in specific projects or data management and the integration of people and data inside the company is the main issue. We have been talking a lot about data silos for years, and we have been presented to solutions or magical solutions from different service providers or tech companies to eliminate those silos and use data lakes or whatever is the technology, but we still keep separating data by domains, by groups of different peoples, by business units, or whatever is the division. So I believe that the access and interconnection between data and people is the main issue, especially right now where you cannot make AI with data with a small amount of data. We need a lot of data, and oil companies have have mountains of data. So it would be probably the best place to try to train and develop better models and machine learning models. So this is the critical issue, I believe. In a small company like mine, of course, resources are always an issue, but it's much more easier to connect people and put people together to collaborate. During this pandemic, we of course migrated completely to remote work. Part of our team was already working remotely before the pandemic. All our tools are native cloud solutions from different service providers. We use agile methods to manage our projects, so it was not that complicated to migrate to the new normal, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Félix. going to, again, a lot of different subjects and ideas and questions that come to my mind. Now I would like to ask Paula a completely different subject, but that regards, I believe, at least a part of your projects. When do you think that we will start using the Internet of Things in humans massively to become not exactly the direction of your projects, I believe, but so we can become via IoT fast learners and superhumans and connect with things just thinking about it?
Well, I believe there's a huge, it's a tough question. I'm going to try to answer with my best knowledge of today. You know, I believe that there's no limits for our imagination, and you're talking about ethics and the questions you are doing. We will do what we imagine, of course, because like Van Gogh said, first we dream about painting and then we paint our dreams. That's for sure. And this idea of having, we are paradoxical beings, you know, we want to be connected, but then we want privacy and want to be alone. And this can't be just done on that. So again, innovation, breakthrough innovation will fulfill our paradoxical mindset, our imbalances. Who managed to put me connected with the world, but even though giving me my privacy and not putting myself in the cloud, because I don't want that. And sometimes this is not paradoxical. There are dilemmas. We have to choose, and we hate to choose. We hate to choose. We want everything. You know, we are going to find it everything. But before that, I believe that there are things that are previous on the Internet of Things and connecting us with the fridges. We have to make this question: why should I be connected with my fridge? I don't want it. Why is this all about? Again, questioning. Why should I be, or why should I want my car to read my WhatsApp messages when I enter there? Do you want I read your WhatsApp? No, for God's sake. I want to be the one that reads my private messages. But then this is a type of questioning that we have to ask ourselves. What do you want until what we want it? Because AI or the technology can help us. The problem is not technology. For example, in terms of before we are connected to everything and become superhumans, we are superhumans being just humans, bare humans, imperfect humans. That's our biggest competitive advantage toward machines. And imagine this, AI can give us time, We don't have time. Imagine Leonardo da Vinci with AI. He would boost innovation, and we would have a different science in 2020. Imagine Schlumberger in the 1920s with AI cracking the dilemmas, cracking the 12 notes symptoms, and say, okay, besides 12 notes, can I have 24? Can I have 57 notes in order to create? And AI can crack the patterns. Look, this is the questions we want to take is, to what extent do you want AI and technology to come to our lives? Because all innovation has a certain kind of rebelty, you know? I innovate when I come and say, Papa, Mama, I want to crack this rule. This rule is wrong. I know the answer, and I'm going to prove it to you that you're wrong. This is innovation. Do you want that AI come to us and say, hey, Mama and Papa, you're wrong. I have an idea better than yours. So the question is, the answer is in form of a question. Where do we want to go with technology? Do you want them to be our best pals? Of course, but they want what type of substitution and differences between us and things that we want to take away from us and give it to machines? That's the big question.
I was asking now a big question to the organizers if we can extend the time, because I want more time with you. I have still many questions to do, but apparently I cannot. There were so many things that I would like for you to ask you, also because I believe it will be very interesting for all of us to hear from you. In different areas, in different regions across the world, so you are, and the different perspectives of the reality. And I think there are so many things that we would like to understand your view. But unfortunately, I have to say goodbye to you. Thank you very much for your availability. Appreciate it. And I really hope we can see each other soon for another talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nuno, and thank you all.
It was a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
So Thank you so much. We have finished this amazing debate section, and we would like to thank you all for attending this debate and for the very interesting presentations. So it will be a pleasure to have you here with us during all the afternoon, remembering that we have the talk sections until 5 p.m. So just to remember you that we have 4 rooms running in parallel with a very interesting presentation, and you are free to move between rooms. At the end of each presentation, we will have a Q&A section that you can find a Q&A icon in the right corner in the top, and to enlarge the streaming window, just press this option that you see in this presentation. So as a chairperson of this next section, we will have Jorge Lourenço. We are just waiting Jorge to connect here, but we ask you to keep with us since our friend Aniruddha already is here. Hello, Aniruddha. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good, and you? So we are just waiting Jorge to start our section and to give the audience time to move between the rooms that they select. Thank you so much.
Sure.
So just to remember all the audience, we are in the room 1, and this macro section will be about digitalization. And again, we can travel in our website between 4 rooms that we have parallel sections, room 1, room 2, room 3, and room 4. And to make questions during the presentation, you just need to click in the icon, Q&A, and to enlarge the screen is just to click in the streaming window, and you can travel this web page. So I think Jorge is already with us. So I'm just repeating, Jorge, what I'm just said. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming. So, Jorge Lourenço. Yes.
Sorry.
I will just introduce you, and then you can take care of this presentation. So Jorge Lourenço is a unit manager at Galp, being a team leader of computing and data management since 2016. Jorge has a degree on management and informatics, later combined it with geology and natural resource. So Jorge has previous experience working in HP, providing data center service delivery for state companies, and joined Galp E&P back in 2006. Please welcome Jorge. For the floor is yours, and thank you so much to take this challenge.
Thank you, Igor. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here this afternoon with us. And for our next presentation, we're pleased to welcome Aniruddha Neogi, Digital Lead for Schlumberger. Aniruddha has more than 15 years experience in the industry working with Schlumberger, currently based in the UK and responsible for Western digital business in Sub-Sahara region. He had worked at various business and technical roles in North America, Asia, and Australia. And today we will be sharing with us a presentation entitled Access Your E&P Data Anytime, Anywhere, and from any device through GAIA Digital Subsurface Platform. With that, I ask you to give your full attention to Aniruddha. Aniruddha, the stage is yours.
Thank you, George. Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning and evening for anyone who is joining out of the region. And thank you for joining me today. First of all, I would like to thank Galp for providing me this platform, and also would like to thank Schlumberger for helping me with the content of my presentation. I'm really excited today to present to you GAIA, the Digital Subsurface Platform, a digital gateway to access your E&P data anytime, anywhere, and from any device. To start with, let's start with the big picture a little bit. Yeah. In our industry, we often take big investment decisions. Some of them are listed on the right-hand side of my slides. These decisions are worth hundreds of millions, or even sometimes billions of dollars. Yeah. Most of these decisions are driven by information extracted from E&P data. Presently, in most cases, the challenge has shifted from having access to adequate data to having timely and relevant information extracted from this available data.
Sorry. You need to share something because we're not seeing your presentation.
Oh.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No. Thank you for letting me know because I
can share for you.
I shared my screen.
It's the third icon in the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
I can share, no problem. I will share, and you see if you are able to see it.
So you are sharing my screen?
I will share my screen that has your presentation. Can you see it?
Okay. I can see it. Yeah. Let me go back to my presentation mode.
You just need to tell me when I'm supposed to pass the slides.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Just a second.
No problem.
Yeah, I was.
Aniruddha?
Yeah.
Igor is sharing your presentation, so if you just follow on Java, you can just say next, and it will follow up.
Yes. So, Jorge, I think we lost Sir Aniruddha. I will ask the technical guys to. Okay. Aniruddha, can you see the screen? Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're seeing your screen, your presentation. Okay, perfect.
So you see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Sorry for the technical problem. So let's start with slide again. Yeah. So let's start looking at the big picture. In our industry, we often take big investment decisions. Some of them are listed on the right-hand side, as I mentioned. These decisions are worth hundreds of millions or even sometimes billions of dollars. And most of these decisions are driven by information extracted from the E&P data. Presently, in most cases, the challenge has shifted from having access to adequate data to having timely and relevant information extracted from the available data. Moving on, since we deal with all kinds of data, both structured and unstructured, and also in large quantities, it poses us several new challenges. Some of them, like large volume of data, limiting how and when you access these data. Secondly, to accommodate various types of data formats, database and applications are getting complex and losing user friendliness. In many cases, inability to deal with different types of data compels application and databases to be siloed, leading to lack of collaboration, poor knowledge management within organizations. Inability in managing such complexities often lead companies to neglect data management. And these findings were echoed in 2018 Kimberlite report through an industry-wide survey. Now, if I may request you to imagine an ideal world for data access. A world where the data could take any form, which includes structured and unstructured data. Structured data like the production data, well data, seismic, and unstructured data like reports, articles, industry news that can give the full context for exploration opportunities. And again, more importantly, visualization of large volume of data can be done anytime and from anywhere without the need for massive computing and high performance software. All you need is just a device to open a Google Chrome browser and a good connectivity. You can work with your teams directly around the data and share what you are learning about the data and the opportunities to make sure everyone is on the same page. This is exactly what I'm very excited to present to you, the GAIA Digital Subsurface Platform. Powered by DELFI Cognitive E&P Environment, GAIA enables you to access all your E&P data from anywhere and from any device in a highly secured environment. If you are interested to know more about the data management solutions in DELFI data ecosystem, there are a couple of interesting talks from my colleagues Héctor Peralta and Rana Sherif later today, so you may want to join them as well. Now, GAIA interface has been designed by considering the various stages of data access activities in a typical E&P workflow. Starting from reconnaissance for data availability over any particular area or region at various stages of E&P cycle. The first step can be considered as a discovery phase for any client. The idea is to understand availability and narrow down area of interest or the data of interest through search capabilities via highly performant map canvas. From a buyer's perspective, understand what data from their perspective. It is very important to understand what data is available. It is and then it is time to inspect the data to understand the quality and content of the data. This phase of visualization is supported by the state-of-art seismic data and well log viewer. The seismic data viewer enables you to stream tens of thousands of square kilometers of seismic data in 3D and 2D mode. If an user would like to access and QC data in details to get more insight, it can be done in the next stage. An user can use artificial intelligence or machine learning algorithms available through DELFI E&P environment in a SaaS model, software as a service model, to have pre-computed attributes available to its clients during this stage. Finally, when a buyer is confident that the data fits its requirement and would like to license the data package, it can either take a digital delivery in GAIA system or a physical delivery. A digital delivery will enable to have access to data instantly and full suites of petrotechnical applications in DELFI Cognitive E&P environment. Hence, seamlessly transitioning from a data as a service to software as a service model. When GAIA is able to address the needs of a wide spectrum of industry market, starting from governmental agencies who are attracting E&P companies to their country through licensing programs and demonstrating potential of acreage to interested parties. Secondly, consulting companies with specific areas of expertise relevant for exploration activities. Then multi-client companies demonstrating the value of the data libraries with ability to inform market about existing projects and ability to screen large volume of data online. Last but not the least, E&P companies who are looking for new exploration opportunities or simply to have all the data within a single canvas. I'm assuming that we predominantly have listeners who fits in the last category. Hence, to demonstrate the strength of GAIA Digital Subsurface Platform, I have chosen a workflow which is the talk of the town in the current industry condition. That is the asset acquisition and divestiture workflow, or often sometimes we refer as farm in, farm out activities. Again, just to make it absolutely clear, this is one of the many such workflows which GAIA adds value to make the data to discovery process seamless, faster, and efficient. Now, if you look at the asset acquisition and divestiture workflow, for the players in this place, there's a high chance that you work in either one of these categories. From a seller's point of view, who is divesting asset or a company, they want to attract potential buyer or partners by promoting and showcasing the value of their asset. If you are an investor, you may want to identify potential investment opportunity and establish the fair value for that asset. And we have governmental agencies as well who are looking to attract bidders and investment into their region. And there is a world of opportunities for these players, especially now we are working in a digital world. But let's look at some of the current challenges and how a digital solution like GAIA can bring a step change. If we look to start with from a seller's point of view, conventionally, data security and governance is a big issue in this workflow. We spend significant amount of time and effort in questions like who is allowed to view which data, what kind of rights one may have on a data, who we may seek permission for a particular data set, those kind of questions, Then, GAIA platform leverages the digital entitlement management and access management tools in DELFI, which makes this process effective and seamless. Whenever a data is ingested in DELFI, a relevant legal tag is assigned, which makes this process simple and efficient. And there is probably no better time to talk about a digital solution for this workflow when travel for physical data rooms and evaluation is restricted due to COVID-19 pandemic. A digital solution where all the parties can carry out the same activity without travel, but more efficiently, will ensure business continuity as well. Key for such digital solution is also the possibility of scaling the solution depending on the requirement. GAIA enables seamless access of structured and unstructured data irrespective of the size of the data set. Now, moving on, if you see it from the investor's point of view, an easy platform where all opportunities in the industry is easily discoverable and at the same time have all the tools, data, and information available to assess those opportunities faster and quicker so that correct decisions could be taken at the right time. Now I will take you through the digital journey of discovery, assessment, and evaluation of data during a farm-in, farm-out process using GAIA, both from a seller's perspective and an investor's perspective. I'm sure as an E&P company, you often venture out in one of the other side. Let's begin the opportunity validation process from a seller's point of view. Aim is to have all the relevant data supporting your opportunity on single platform, ready to be evaluated by any potential investor. In our case, the first step is scanning the available proprietary wells in the area of interest for the opportunity. Through GAIA Earth Map Canvas, you can filter, search, access all data that is of relevance to your particular opportunity. In this case, we have filtered all proprietary well data that has been drilled over the last 5 years. Now we want to understand the production profile of all the fields in the area of interest. The interface is very user-friendly. You just need to click on your relevant data and it will provide you the relevant unstructured information associated with particular object, like news, reports, or articles. Subsequently, to depict a more holistic view of the prospect area, let's look for all the seismic that is available to the seller in the area. It could be 2D, 3D, local or regional data. On the left panel, you will find all information about the seismic, including any unstructured information like reports, other documents linked to it. But most importantly, you can launch a seismic and a well viewer from the same interface by just clicking on the viewer panel. And practically, there is no limitation to the size of the seismic you can stream. In Schlumberger, we have worked with one single seismic volume as big as 60,000 square kilometers, thanks to the revolutionary seismic visualization application developed at Schlumberger's Tech Center in Silicon Valley, California. Now you are seamlessly visualizing the seismic data and any associated velocity, volume, or interpretation surface in the area. We can QC the data quality and also identify area of interest for the potential investor. There are many unique collaboration tools available within this viewer, which I will discuss later in my presentation. Similarly, you can also QC your well data, launching the well viewer seamlessly from GAIA map canvas. Once you're happy with the data quality and data fitness for your opportunity, you may want to find if any additional data for a third-party vendor, which you do not have access currently, would help to boost your opportunity case. In our case, we found some additional well data from a bunch of other third-party vendors. Companies YZAB on your left-hand side panel are just representative names, and some of the information are hidden for confidentiality reasons. Now we have found a bunch of other well information that will support our opportunity case. Let's look for other data available in this region. We've found some geophysical data like gravity, magnetic, and actually we even found additional multi-client seismic, which may help to prop up our opportunity case to the investor. We can even look out for any information available in the public domain. In this case, USGS report on the regional story. But if you think about this whole process, which I have been showing in the last few slides, this process of data enrichment in our conventional workflow, it is not definitely a click away. This process could be as complex and lengthy that most of the time you might either miss your opportunity timeline or you end up compromising. When Schlumberger embarked on this endeavor, it was very evident, based on inputs from our clients, the success of such a platform vastly depends on the richness of data, which would not be possible without openness, where all data content providers with contents for all phases of the exploration and production cycle can enrich the data experience. And hence, after working over last many months, we are excited to launch GAIA Exchange, world's first digital E&P data marketplace, bringing all world's E&P content at your fingertips. This was launched by Schlumberger actually yesterday during the Schlumberger Digital Conference. This conference will be running through July 1 in case any listener is interested to join. GAIA Exchange will transform how E&P data business is conducted today by removing the existing barriers and keeping customers' need at the center of all. Exchange is the platform in our industry that allows you to discover data, information, and insights from across the globe and does not stop there. It enables you to move through entire life cycle from data discovery to decision making. You will be able to analyze any region or basins across the globe, and it covers the breadth of data across the full life cycle of exploration and production, and supporting content that can help you take informed decisions. This is not just seismic data. We are talking of well data, interpreted models and studies that can give you jumpstart and insights, satellite images, vessel information, bid rounds, and etc. etc. If there is any data relevant to your need, you will find it over here. Schlumberger is leading this effort, but this is an open collaboration for entire industry. Together, these key players are laying down the foundation of the world's first E&P data marketplace. We are very encouraged by the response we have got from the industry and looking forward to work together with the industry to take the data experience to the next level. Additionally, GAIA is architected to OSDU, ready for start, which will enable seamless transition from DELFI data ecosystem to OSDU. Hence, any company working on an OSDU compliant platform can seamlessly exchange data layers. OSDU stands for Open Subsurface Data Universe. This forum is developing standard data platform for oil and gas industry, which will reduce silos but put data at the center of subsurface community. Already more than 20 E&P companies and 50 suppliers are part of this group, including all major international oil companies. Coming back to our opportunity, once you have all the data you need, you can interactively draw your polygon for the area selected for farm out opportunity. The polygon can now be interactively linked with data entitlements and data packaging for farm out opportunity. You can save this opportunity with description, stages, deadlines, and other kind of information. These opportunities will be listed in the opportunity dashboard for your group or your organization, where it could be shared with your colleagues, management for review, QC, approval steps, etc. At any time, you can refer back to the entire list of data associated with an opportunity. Now, from the seller's point of view, opportunity is ready to be promoted externally. The map layer from the farm out shapes and information serves as an excellent means for promoting an opportunity to global GAIA users. This layer can be easily customized with the right kind of information as the sellers would like to expose. On the other hand, from an investor's point of view, they can discover any global new opportunity that is being made available by a seller. In this case, our investor is interested for assets from conjugate margin setup from West Africa, since they have experience from their current operation from offshore Brazil, as represented by the red polygons on the left-hand side of the map. The purple polygons on West Africa represents all entities. To understand availability of information reports, news from this area, an investor can either search by typing the next text referring to area of interest like Angola, Gabon, etc., or just draw a polygon around the area. You can discover all information available on those areas from different content providers, as mentioned in the left-hand side. Since the investor has seismic and knowledge from the existing blocks from Brazil, it can easily draw analogy from same play in Gabon. In the conventional workflow, this single step can take weeks, if not months. These capabilities from GAIA provides enormous power to new ventures team and investors organization to be faster and more efficient. For both the map and the data viewer in GAIA, collaboration tools like Geotag provides the evaluation team an effective platform to collaborate both with the internal team or across organizations. As you can see, and seismic volume can assign XYZ location to put comments and relevant information and share the location to discovered by other permitted users. For example, seller saving important locations with comments and seismic to be discovered by investor. Investor evaluating team save relevant information for its management on the seismic data to evaluate, etc. On the left-hand side panel is showing such an interface. Furthermore, with a single click, the investor can generate an automatic data report for all the data associated with any particular opportunity or a polygon drawn on the fly. Eventually, when the investor team has confidence on the opportunity potential backed up by the relevant data and information, before concluding any transaction, the investor has seamless access to DELFI petrotechnical suites in a digital data room setup, ready to run any kind of detailed analysis on the dataset. The investor can conclude transfer of data entitlement digitally once legal agreement for such farm-ins is in place. Hence, if we look back on the entire workflow from farm-in, farm-out just demonstrated, we have transformed it digitally to make it work better, faster, and efficient. Again, this is only one such workflow where GAIA helps you to transform the data experience in your E&P workflow. Finally, to conclude, the GAIA digital subsurface platform put all data at your fingertips anytime, anywhere, and from any device. It instantly connects you with a multiple content provider across the E&P lifecycle, giving you access to both structured and unstructured data. We welcome you on board on this digital gateway to accelerate your data to discovery journey in basins around the globe. Now thank you, and now I'm open for questions and answers.
Thank you, Aniruddha. I'm sorry, but we're getting late on time, and because of the problems we had in the beginning, we'll have to postpone a little bit on the questions. People can still ask questions on the question mark icon that you have on your screen, but we will forward them through the email and proceed over there, okay? If that's fine with you, and for the sake of time, thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, thank you, George. We are just waiting Héctor. Héctor is just connecting, and we will continue with the sections.
Okay.
So I think Sir Héctor Peralta is already coming. George, just to you to be aware that this sound is a little bit delayed of Héctor. I don't know if it's some device that he's using, but we have some delays.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, Héctor. Can you hear us?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
We just need to see you. Can you turn on your camera?
Let me, because it was working just before. Just give me a second. Okay. No, it's. I will stop and I will restart it again.
Okay.
And I don't know why it was working before. It says, okay, you can see my camera now?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I don't know if I need to. It was working before joining the.
No problem, no problem. Could you try to share your screen, Sir Héctor?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Just to see if it's working.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah, the screen is perfect. Okay, you just need, yes, perfect. So we are not able to see you, but George, if you want to present Sir Héctor.
Sure, I'll start right away. So, good afternoon again, once again. Our next presenter, Héctor Peralta, technical lead for Schlumberger. Héctor has been working as a technical leader and consultant for the National Data Repository for the Ministry of Energy of Israel for the last 3 years, and recently appointed as technical lead for Schlumberger SIS team in Madrid. With 70 years of experience in the oil and gas industry with Schlumberger and 5 years of experience in the gold and silver mining industry, Héctor has been involved in the deployment of corporate databases and solutions for the E&P companies in Mexico and Europe. Having solid background in petroleum and mining geology and information management, he is experienced in national data repositories and corporate data management solutions, and such as ProSource experience in database technologies and advanced knowledge of scripting languages. Today, he will be presenting some really valuable information on the presentation entitled The Digital Data Management with the New ProSource Web, On-Prem, or Data Management as a Service. Héctor, welcome to the stage.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for joining this meeting. Good afternoon, everyone. And as it was mentioned, my name is Héctor Pantoja, and I've been working with Schlumberger last 17 years with experience in different data management solutions. So the topic of today is the new digital data management system that we are deploying, and the new technologies for data management and the new services called data management as a service. So I would like to cover, this agenda during this presentation. So I will, of course, you're aware of a lot of challenges of our digital age, right? So, and the new approaches that they are, the company they are taking. And this is gonna be the short introduction, and then I will cover some of the features of the new solution of ProSource that we call it ProSource Web. And I have prepared a couple of slides regarding what is the data management service and how it's integrated in DELFI, our cloud solution. So I would like to start just this presentation with a statement from Eric Schmidt, who is the former CEO from Google. So and others. So they mentioned that from the early stages of the civilization until 2003, so the civilization had created only 5 exabytes of information. But nowadays, so we are creating this amount of data every 2 days. So it's just to put in perspective the challenge, about our digital age. So, and I have, for example, let's say you type in Google, something very funny like, cat of videos of cats, in YouTube. So you will find billions of records, right, of findings in the web. So coming back to the challenges, right? So all the companies in all the domains are facing the same issues in our digital age. So I would like to list these challenges as the amount of data that the companies they have to process. So the high dimensional aspect of the data, and the data source and the confidence. So I will stop in this point, because you are receiving data from different vendors, from different sources, and sometimes you prefer, or I have clients that they prefer to deal with specific data sources, with the specific data vendors, because the data is structured and they respect the standards, latest standards that we have in the industry. And another challenge is that it's very complicated. All the factors affecting the data quality of the data. For example, how the data is processed. For different software, actually the people. There's a human factor too. That they process, or they make interpretation, or they transfer the data in a certain way. And another challenge is the need to avoid complicated data cleansing workflows. As you know, most of the time of the data managers, of the people, not only data managers, people dealing with data, so they have to spend a lot of time, tons of hours, cleaning and checking the data. And another challenge is that we are always dealing with a mix of structured and non-structured data. And I would like just to summarize all these challenges, and I will borrow a phrase from John Naisbitt, that today we are drowning in data, but we're starved for information. So I think this this statement reflects exactly the challenge that we have today. So I will cover, the approaches, that the different softwares and our solutions, are taken into account. So, for example, in this, basic slide, so we have, in one side, we have the machine, let's say the computers, part, and we have the human part. So, for the machine, so we have technologies, we have approaches, we have software for data management, machine learning, data mining, artificial intelligence, business intelligence, and statistics, right? And from the human part, we have the human recognition, because it's very important that not only the computer, they cannot do everything. Right? So there is a human intervention, to identify what is out of the ranges, or what is a data that is not in the it's out of the boundaries that we are looking for. So there is a question of perception, and of course we have an storytelling, right? So we have to communicate the results of the data. We have to present our results to the management, to our colleagues, to make different decisions, or even to develop theories. All this range of different approaches. So it's something that we call it the data science. So I would like this slide. It's I like a lot this slide, because we are the objective is to present what we have as traditional data management solution, and the new digital automated data management system. In one we have the traditional data management was based on resources, data storage, manual data loading, right? So I remember a long time ago, a lot of people just loading files or manually in different applications. So it was based as well in data export and transfer, manual data QC. in the data security and extensibility, and in infrastructure. And of course, and we are moving from this traditional data management approach to the digital and automated data management. So we are using and we're implementing new technologies, for user experience, to improve the user experience and the user interface. So, and based on HTML5 and JSON. So the technologies that are implementing as well, we are implementing, based on the openness, and we are making, microservice to, and of course, the access through the APIs. So the new approach as well, the new approach is considered, the solution based on the cloud, right? Like service, software as a service and data management as a service. We have as well the integration of analytics, business intelligence, and the integration with other databases. And as well, we have new concepts in the data management and in the data science, the creation of data lakes, where these technologies, we can have the ingress or the egress of the data, right, in a controlled environment like DELFI. And we are implementing, via machine learning, in the intelligent, data quality management, workflows, to save time and to the users and to the person dealing with data. And as well, we are developing tools to improve the access to unstructured data for searching and indexing. So, in summary, the exploration and production industry is looking for a single point of reference, right? A solid database, right? That is clean, validated, and with known data quality, so that it can be integrated easily with other applications, and of course that we can trust the data that is in these databases. So this is what I have covered so far is the challenges and a little bit the new technologies and the approaches that we are taking into consideration. So we have developed this new ProSource Web, and it's based in 4 main pillars. So the usability, accessibility, integration, and maintenance. So in the usability part, we have created data crawlers. These data crawlers, so they will capture the data from different files, let's say WAV files, LAS files, documents, Excel, and it will enable automated workflows for loading and for processing and for visualization. So in the accessibility pillar, we have the web part. So the solution can be accessed via web, and and we are developing microservices. Just to have access to a small pieces of the solution that probably you're interested in, right? So, and of course we have a strong integration with DELFI, our solution for cloud. And of course, we need to maintain all the database, and we have a solution for in a single interface for data loading to provide the maintenance of the data. So I would like to cover, and focus in the data loaders, because a lot of time we're spending. We spend a lot of time gathering the data, cleaning the data, and actually it's very important, to this process in data management. So we are developing, as I mentioned in the previous slides, kind of microservices, right? That allows to integrate this data into the database, and we have used as well. We are developing these data crawlers to perform kind of data mining for improving the data loading process, and we're integrating to these visualization tools to make a quick quality data control and to improve the data quality that is going to be available in ProSource. And all these tools are integrated only on their one loading job management tool. Then we have, I would like to stop a little bit here, with the data crawlers, because, as a data manager, with the experience I have, always, dealing with capturing the data, creating scripts for formatting, creating a script for classifying the data, etc. So ProSource Web, this solution now we can scan, the disks or file system to extract, identify the data. We extract the metadata. We can save this metadata as JSON and put it into the database, and we can, generate statistics, right, and to create, dashboards, of that represent, some of the aspects of the data that was crawled. So just I have an example, of a benchmark of the data of how fast is this crawler. And for example, we have made an exercise with Segwise, 1 terabyte, and to make this crawling job was it took 9 minutes. And for the leak files, for logs, and it was 15 gigabytes, so it was 6 minutes. And last files, so for 3 gigabytes, so the time was 5 minutes. So, and then, after we, let's say in less than half an hour, so we have scanned, we have gathered all the relevant information from all these files. And it will be easier, right, the loading into the database. And we have a set of auto scanners too, that is where we can, identify, with this learning machine tools, for example, a specific data or features of our data to be able to classify quickly our data. For example, in this case, we can identify, the position of the inline, cross line, short point, etc. The people that, with experience with the Segwise, so we respect the Segwise format, but, sometimes, the cross lines and the short points on all these features or positions, they are not, in the standard position. So the people, they have to guess or try with different applications to identify what is located, right? So we can identify as well if it's a stack quickly, and if the server was 2D or 3D. So I would like to present another workflow. It's related to how we can deal with the documents. So, for example, we can start with with documents. So we can with the documents we have an OSCR that is gonna capture the metadata, and we have an extractor. An extractor is gonna capture this information, and we have a tool that is gonna classify this data, right? And assign, for example, if it belongs to a well or it belongs to a seismic line, etc. And we have a loader that is gonna pass information to ProSource, and then from ProSource you can use APIs of ProSource to transfer information or to be exploited by in applications of TIBCO or Tableau or in DELFI. And we have something similar as well for data that is stored in tables. So we can extract information from the PDF and then pass all this information and load directly to the database. So and actually this our ProSource Web is integrated with DELFI, so you can exploit all the tools, nice tools and nice applications that we have, that we offer in DELFI. So for the users, it will be transparent, right? And then I will just mention some few slides about what is the data management as a service. So what is the drivers of the data management as a service? So the traditional data management is very expensive, right? And it's quite difficult to operate, and you need a dedicated team to operate, right? So and another driver is that the whole industry, they are moving to the cloud platform, and all the companies moving to the cloud. So as well, they want to preserve the legacy data management investment that they have, right? So before migrating to the new cloud technologies. So one of our offers is this data management as a service that is going to cover the digital transformation. Of course, to accelerate the digital transformation information, we offer the corporate data management solution. So we offer as well the infrastructure and the set of applications, the management of the infrastructure, the operations, right, to grade and for the data migration. And of course, we have the accountability, right, providing just a point of accountability for the whole process of data management. And of course, it offers a value and add value, right, to the enterprises. So the benefit of the data management as a service is, in one hand, is the cost. That is very important, and then you can predict the cost, right? Because it's gonna be, based on a specific packages you are interested in, and we can enable advanced workflows for data management, and of course, we offer data protection, data security. So the data management service for Schlumberger, so we have 3 packages. So we have basic, so where we can offer the infrastructure as a service. We have the other layers of as a service for standard, and the last one is the managed service where we operate the whole system for you. And this is my last slide. So just to remember that that our ProSource solution is integrated in DELFI, and it's part of our DELFI solution. And please, if you have any questions, just let me know, and I will be glad to answer the question.
Okay, thank you, Héctor. I do have a couple of questions if we have time. Let's see. Going back to what you said on the ProSource and the crawler and the discovery, how easy would it be to give it storage with a couple of hundreds of terabytes and just say, well, discover everything I have over there, mainly segwise, and then put it all in a map and integrate with the applications? Because it sounds very easy the way you mentioned, but maybe there's some trick to it.
Yeah, no, of course, the way it works, actually, we send the crawler, right? But we need to use first, a data subset, right? Because we need to train the crawler, right, to auto detect, for example, X and Y positions. And this is one thing. Then about the amount of data, so I'm not sure, how it's gonna take. But it captures all this information. It puts this information into a database. To an Mercer database, right? ArcGIS. And then from there, so we have in ProSource, we have a GIS view where you can see, the lines where are located.
Okay, but still, there's a lot of human, or at least in the beginning, of the human component.
At the beginning, of course, because you have to train your data set, of course. Because, well, if the data, the data is, let's say, it's quite similar, but of course, based on my experience, always the positions are different, for X and Y coordinates.
Okay, and out of curiosity, you mentioned also that the crawler could apply some AI and to identify which are the fields that have the short point positions and the CDPs, because sometimes they're not there. What if the navigation comes in an ASCII file and you have a segue with no navigation information? How do you handle this kind of data?
Well, probably we need two steps. One step is to pasting we're talking about the header, the EBCD header. So we can paste this, but it will be quite difficult, right? Because it has to be done in two steps. One, reading the ASCII files, and then reading the segue file.
Okay, Héctor. Thank you very much. Let me just remind the audience that you can put any other additional questions on the question mark icon in the bottom, and then we'll be sure to follow your questions by email. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
All right. So continuing on our schedule, and for the next presentation, we'll have on stage Pedro Costa. Hi, Pedro. Pedro is the head of research at Abyssal. Pedro Costa holds an MSc in Informatics and Computing Engineering at the Faculty of Engineering, University of Porto. Costa started working with INASPTEC back in 2014, trying to find adverse drug reactions in biological data using machine learning. After a brief experience in the industry, Costa came back to INASPTEC to work on medical image processing using deep learning methods, having published several papers in conferences and in a top medical imaging journal. He then spent 3 months working on a weekly supervised deep learning method at Carnegie Mellon University. Currently, he is head of research at Abyssal, working on how to improve ROV operation efficiency using machine learning and computing vision techniques. He is also a researcher at INASPTEC and keeps cooperating with Carnegie Mellon University on several projects. Today, Pedro will bring us a presentation entitled Subsea AI Video Library. Please welcome Pedro Costa.
Thank you for the kind introduction. Just checking, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so great, thank you. So today I'm going to talk about our Subsea AI Video Library, which is basically a cloud-based platform that is both a digital twin and a video library. And then I'm going to talk about how we are leveraging this platform to develop and deploy AI models. But first, why are we doing this? Unplanned downtime happens when an asset fails, and that failure leads to a production outage. These production outages are very costly, and it was estimated that unplanned downtime costs the offshore oil and gas industry $38 million every year. And currently, in order to try to alleviate this problem, operators perform frequent visual inspection operations, while during these operations, a remotely operated vehicle, which is sort of a submarine control from a ship, acquires videos of subsea assets of interest to be further analyzed by specialized engineers. However, this is an expensive, time-consuming, and error-prone process, as we need to hire a ship and crew, move to the desired location in the middle of the ocean, and then upload those videos to be further analyzed by engineers before getting a decision on whether the asset should be repaired or maintained or not. So basically, nowadays the current dominant approach is reactive, or these regular visual inspection operations. The current approach is to maintenance. And we think that we need to move from these reactive approaches to predictive ones in order to optimize subsea asset maintenance. In fact, it has been shown that predictive maintenance can result in up to 36% less than planned downtime in offshore oil and gas industry, and that represents a lot of money saved in production. But in order to develop predictive maintenance methods, we need large quantities of high quality and correlated data to train our big data and AI methods. And for that, we need a digital platform and infrastructure to support these developments. We should be able to store data from multiple sources in a standardized format, so we can then aggregate all the data and make it accessible to every stakeholder, be it an engineer that wants to draw conclusions on that data, or a data scientist that wants to develop big data and artificial intelligence models. And that's where we come in, and we propose a cloud-based platform that is both a digital twin and a video library. So our digital twin is useful to store information from multiple sources in a standard format and allows the user to visualize that information as a single source of truth. So basically, we have all the assets in a digital format connected to multiple sensors, and those values, those sensor values, update in real time. So we have updated information at any moment. And additionally, you have our video library, which is similar. You can think of it as similar to YouTube, that is able to store videos in the cloud and store additional metadata associated with those videos, such as inspection reports, and other metadata that I'm going to talk about later. And since it's a cloud platform, you can access it from anywhere in the world. And one of the big contributions of this platform is that every piece of information is contextualized into a survey-grade geographical information system. What I mean by this is that every asset, every video, and even every frame of those videos may have an accurate geographical 3D position associated to it. And since every information is stored in the same place and in a standardized format, this platform can also be used to develop new artificial intelligence AI models and even to deploy them in that platform. So now I'm going to show you a video with an overview of this platform. So yeah, that was basically the overview of our system with a big focus on our digital twin part, which is a 3D environment where you can see all the assets in a 3D environment. But now I'm going to dive a little bit deeper in all the features of our cloud system. And one of the first feature of our system is that it can work as a geographical project management tool. So basically, we have this 2D GIS application where you can visualize all your worldwide projects with contextualized data. You can see all your projects and select the ones you want based on geography. But we can do even more than this. So basically, we can overlay data layers on top of the 2D map. We can connect any source of data that provide data with GIS information. So for instance, we can visualize the weather conditions or weather forecasts on top of the map. This feature can be useful if you're monitoring an offshore operation, or if you want to plan a new operation, you want to visualize view the weather forecast for that area. We can also visualize all the assets in the region in 2D. For instance, here you can see the pipelines and wellheads of the Gulf of Mexico area, but we can also include information about your own fields and assets, so you can have a clear picture of the assets you have in place. And we could even show the assets that have failures and integrity threats with the different colors, so you can plan for the repair operations. Another example is bathymetry. You can overlay bathymetry on the 2D map. But again, we could even listen to the GPS signal of your ships and remotely operated vehicles and place them on the 2D map and update their position in real time, so you could monitor all the ongoing operations from anywhere in the world. You can also list your projects in a single page, and you can link those projects to other platforms for KPI information. So basically, if you click on details, you can see all the information associated with that field, including all the assets, reports, KPIs, and other relevant statistics. But you can also search and sort your projects and quickly get information that you need about that particular project. You can even search by geographic location or a different or the name of the project. Additionally, if you click on the 3D view, you can have our 3D visualization of that particular field. So basically, this is our 3D digital twin, where every asset has an accurate 3D geographical position. We can connect any sensor to any of these assets, such as a pressure sensor or a position sensor, and view the updated 3D environment as we get information from those sensors. For instance, if we connect the position sensor to the ROV that we see here, we could see it move in real time in this 3D environment as we get information from that sensor. So this is an interesting tool to monitor offshore operations in real time from anywhere in the world. But this can also be an interesting tool for the design and engineering phase and to plan for new operations. We can add completely digital elements. For instance, we could plan for an operation before it happens, define the trajectory that the pilot should follow, and create this flight path that we see here in the back as the blue triangles. We could even create the no-go zones that the pilot should avoid, and waypoints, such as interesting points that the pilot should focus on. And we can do even more, like take measurements on the field and perform accessibility studies. So basically, almost like simulate an operation before it happens, so we avoid getting any surprises in the field. And finally, our platform also has a video library. Like I mentioned, it's almost like YouTube, but for subsea operation videos. You can upload all your videos into our platform, view them from anywhere in the world, and associate metadata to each of these videos. So you can associate inspection reports, notes. All these videos have a date associated and telemetry. So we can have the values of the position sensor of the ROV, so we know the trajectory that the ROV made during the video acquisition. And this makes it easier for you to search the videos. You may want to have all the videos in a particular area, so you can search the videos by location or by a particular date. And additionally, this video library can serve as a platform to deploy AI models to start automating the process of analyzing and extracting information from videos, as I'm going to show you in a few seconds. With all the information associated with these videos, including the video telemetry, we can see the trajectory of the operations in 2D. So you can select one video, and then in yellow, you can see the trajectory that the vehicle performed during the operation. And on top of that, we can click on a point of the trajectory and look at the frame of the video in that particular location. So this is useful if you want to have videos that are looking at a particular asset. So if you're making an historical assessment of a particular asset, you can see all the frames where that asset is visible. But in order to have that feature, so if you want to understand and visualize the movement of the vehicle in a particular video, you need to have the telemetry of for that particular video. So you need to have the position of the ROV in each frame for that video, which may not be available in all videos, especially for legacy videos. So one of the first models, AI models that we created was an optical character recognition model that is able to extract information from the overlay of the videos. So even legacy videos usually are stored with data in the overlay, and this data provides information about the location of the vehicle, date and time of the operation. Usually they also contain some logos and additional dive information. So we created this model that is able to automatically extract this information from the overlay of the videos, providing more metadata for the videos and avoiding the need for the user to manually insert that information in the platform. Since the user don't need to insert the date and time of the video, we can automatically extract it from the overlay. And another useful feature of this platform is that having all those videos, all those inspection videos, along with the inspection reports, so this correlation between video and inspection reports, allows us to develop AI models to automatically detect structure integrity threats. So we have developed in the past an AI model that is capable of identifying anomalies in subsea pipelines with over 98% accuracy that we can deploy in this platform. And as long as more data is acquired and stored in our video library, correlated with the inspection reports, these AI models can continue to improve. So with this system, we could make inspection operations much more efficient by automatically identifying anomalies in the assets and generating a report, saving the engineer's time and detecting problems earlier. And another AI service that we can provide and distribute in our cloud platform is 3D reconstruction. So basically what we do is we start from a video that is uploaded in our video library, and from that video we perform a 3D reconstruction of the environment that is visible in that video. So basically what you see here, we use an inspection operation video where the ROV was moving around here in the front side of this asset, and we were able to reconstruct the asset that was visible in the video and place it in 3D geographical coordinates. Of course, the ROV was did not go to the back of these assets, so we lose precision in those areas that were not visible in the video. But in those areas that are well visible in the video, we get really high accuracy in the 3D reconstruction. And there's a lot of things that we can do with this. The first one is, again, identifying problems in the fields by tracking if a particular asset is moving over time. So this is, we did a case study a few months ago with one of the clients. They provided legacy videos. So one video, let's say from 2015, and a more recent video, and we performed a 3D reconstruction independently on those two videos. We placed the same asset in 3D coordinates, and then since we placed them on the same environment, we can actually see the movement of the asset over time. So basically, you can see here, this part of the asset corresponds to this part here, and this part of the asset is this part right here. But these are actually two different reconstructions from two different years. And then we could measure the movement of this asset over time. But we can also do more. We could also measure biofouling. This is another example, a project that we did with some clients. Here we can see a jacket. So basically the CAD model of the jacket, basically our digital twin, and we used some. We got some videos with from an inspection operation. We reconstructed those videos, and then we placed those reconstructions on top of the our digital twin. And then what we can do with this is measure the thickness of biofouling. So you can see there that we measured that the biofouling in that particular location was 81 millimeters, which is consistent with the measurements that our clients performed during the operation. So this is our cloud system that allows the development and deployment of AI models on top of our video library. So if you want to know more about it, just ask some questions or send me an email. Thank you.
Thank you, Pedro. I have a question for you. So it's very particular, so I'm not sure if it would fit the scope of the presentation. But so regarding the AI analysis that you do for predicting problems right before they're happening, do you think it would be possible to apply the same methodology to identify CO2-induced corrosion on production flexible lines?
Well, I'm not entirely familiar with that problem. So my question would be that if that is possible, if that corrosion is possible to see on a video, then we can apply the same methodology that we use to identify problems in pipelines to that particular problem.
Okay.
So basically, if you can video and see the problems, we can apply our models.
Okay, you can apply some algorithm that will then identify. Okay, and another question is, how easy is it for you guys to collect data that will allow you to develop your work and to do even more? Because from what you're showing, it's kind of restrict world of information, and so you have so much to do, but the source might not be easy to get.
Yeah, so that's one of the biggest problems we actually face. It's really expensive to go out in the water and acquire data from ourselves. So what we basically do is we work with clients and we develop, at this moment, we mostly develop these models along with our clients' requirements. So they basically provide us with videos from past operations, along with, let's say, reports or additional information that we can use to train our models. And that's how we've been doing so far.
Okay. So a client will go to you with a challenge and you will provide them with an answer.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. So Igor, I think you have a question for Pedro.
Yes, Pedro. Sorry to taking advantage of having this section and be more or less my point of interest. So if you don't have like a video source of data, but the operator provides you different source. I mean, he said to you that they move or the currents of the sea. So different source, can you accommodate, or you are only limited to the video source? An example, I can pass to you pressure gauge readings. I can pass to you that the line moved a little bit. How is it? How do you combine source?
Well, you can provide us any source of data as long as you have an API where we can fetch that information. So we can listen to videos, as you mentioned, but we can also listen to position sensors from the ROV. So we listen from the telemetry of the ROV in real time. We can also listen for pressure sensors, as you mentioned. So basically, anything that has an API where we can fetch the data, we can accommodate in our platform.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pedro. Let me remind the audience that you can put questions on the question mark icon at any time. If there's no further questions at the moment, I think we can then follow up by email, Pedro, and we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, sure. Send me an email if you have any additional comments or questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
And for the rest, we will do a short recess, and we'll be back at 4:30 with the next presentation.
That's it. Thank you, Jorge. So it's time to take a break. If you want to take a coffee or relax in your seat, we will return in 8 minutes. And always remember that you can make questions during the presentations. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, George. Thank you all for the time you're waiting. So hope to have a good coffee and you are comfortable in your seats. And we are almost ready to start our fourth presentation.
Okay, so we've just had 3 wonderful presentations, but just before we can close our afternoon, we have one more fantastic presentation ahead of us. Our next presenter is Rana Sherif, Senior Information Management Engineer for Schlumberger. Rana is currently taking on the role of Data and Infrastructure Technical Solution Sales for Schlumberger SIS Europe. With over 12 years experience in the domain, Rana has had a range of roles, mainly working with large clients, providing on-site and bespoke data management services for petrotechnical users. Her experience includes knowledge in data management processes, solution design, project management, and software deployment. Rana holds a Master's in Mathematics and Computer Science from the University of York, UK. The presentation is entitled Data Management Unstructured Data Liberation in DELFI. I would like to give a warm welcome to Rana Sherif. Rana, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me well and see my presentation. Thank you for having me today. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everyone. Today I'll be presenting to you data management and unstructured data liberation in DELFI based on Schlumberger technology.
Hannah, sorry to interrupt you, but can you share again your presentation, because we are seeing the comments screen, not the presentation itself.
Okay, let me try that again. Okay, is this better?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so data. We're surrounded by data, by vast amounts of data everywhere, coming from different sources, coming from public outlets, data vendors, multi-client systems, and obviously the company's own siloed data repository. We use data in all our day-to-day activities, day-to-day workflows, in different multidiscipline applications. You've all probably seen this iceberg model before. It suggests that as much as 80% of our data that we use every day is unstructured data. Unstructured data is the data that's not organized in a predefined manner. It's not organized in a database. So things such as reports, documents, scanned images, or computer-generated images, all of this is unstructured data that sometimes it's very hard to find and very hard to locate the information, the valuable information within these documents. Obviously, we want to be able to find this data and become and use it in our workflows. So what if we can extract the relevant information that we want from this huge data sets and from this huge vast repository of knowledge for users to use within their workflows in the context of their work? Hopefully we'll be unlocking valuable insight along the way. What if we can do this, go further and actually enrich the data, structured and unstructured data, with to improve its quality and have a better understanding of the data's life cycle from its creation to where it's going to end up with and where it's going to be used and mostly utilized. I mean, ultimately, we'll be making, our goal is to be making better informed decisions. And what if we can actually do all of this in one single environment where we have our data, our applications, and our enriched data sources? First, I would like to introduce to you the DELFI cloud solution. The DELFI Cognitive EMP environment is a collaborative technology that delivers EMP lifecycle in the cloud. The DELFI environment is an open, secure, scalable, and a fully managed solution. It connects people, data, leading software across multi-domains. At the heart of this DELFI environment or cloud environment is the DELFI data ecosystem. It enables the user to discover and consume data from different multiple sources in one place, enriched and in context. Through this data ecosystem, the data is liberated from previously siloed repository and made available to these native applications in the DELFI environment. As Schlumberger is committed to openness, part of this DELFI data ecosystem has been donated to the Open Subsurface Data Universe, or OSDU, and it's developed. The OSDU is developed by the OSDU Forum under an open source model. This means that everyone can use it and store and workflow and benefit from its openness and extensibility. So we have our powerful cloud-based platform and we have our data ecosystem. On top of these, we have built some shared services to ingest and extract and enrich data from these unstructured documents. We have, to begin with, we have our core services. The core services are the backbone of the platform that provides essential service security of the data. So, for example, we have the CRS and unit services that ensures that our data is kept in the correct formats and in the correct units and transformed correctly. We also have indexing and searching tool that's universal across any of the data types in the data ecosystem. Another important point that we have as well is the data security. So we have data entitlement layer in this data ecosystem. The data is held securely, and only people with the correct credentials can access certain data. And then we have the ingestion services that include the ingestion framework that enables documents to be imported, analyzed, and extracted into the data ecosystem. And lastly, we have the consumption services that deliver the data and enrich the data. So we have things like optical recognition, we have EMP content and packet extraction, as well as more cool technologies such as machine learning and AI stuff. So we have documents from multiple sources. We have documents from multiple in multiple formats, containing various amounts of information. So we have things like PDFs, images in different formats. We have Excel sheets, documents, or even PowerPoint. Or we want all of these data and from all of these sources we want to extract the information from this as quickly as possible and as deeply as possible, but also storing the document and its metadata in a secure place. Then we want to deliver this metadata or this information that we just extracted straight into our applications, straight into our workflows in context of what we're actually working in. To do this, we took a step approach. So mimicking how a person would actually find information in a document. So if a person is searching for a piece of information in a set of documents, they will go to a file, find a folder or find the file itself, and then look for the relevant information in there. Once they have, we'll go and flick through the pages to find the right page or right section. And once they get into the section, they want to extract the paragraph or the table or the image they actually need. So following in from that method, we did this in 4 steps. We started off by managing the document, and this would be just ingesting the document into our storage or the bulk of documents. Running a simple document that ensures that we have the basic information, we digitize the content, and that we know what the document is all about. we automatically attach the metadata, and now we allow the users to attach more metadata based on the other attributes, such as file name, such as a path name, or anything else that's related to where this document came from. And not just the user metadata where it's stored, but also computer-generated metadata or machine-generated metadata. It's also added to the document in the next stage. This is extracted from things like the title, and this will generate a summary of what the document is all about. So a person searching for this document doesn't have to go through it, but we can only can actually just look at the summary to see what the document is all about, to find if this is what is relevant to their work. We also have, on top of this, document classification using either out-of-the-box taxonomies or company-specific ones that can be specified if the client has that. We also have the concept of tags, where these are keywords that can be attached to the document to make sure that there are certain words that can be found within the document that are easily searched for. The next stage we'll go to is the finding actual content within the document. This is specific information within the page. This is more on a visual level, so we can have a map or a table or even a cross section. So we have more machine learning algorithms to find these elements and attach them as metadata. And then obviously we just don't want just to find the element, but also to put a border around it. And eventually in the fourth stage here, we want to extract this element and be able to use it. So a good example would be a report that has a log trace that we want to extract from there and actually digitize it and use it again, re-ingest it again and use it within our application. And it becomes a structured data rather than unstructured document. This is, if we go through these steps, we ensure that we got as much as possible, as much insight from our unstructured document as we can. So as the technology advances and as we get deeper and deeper into these unstructured documents, we want to squeeze as much insight from these documents as possible. Like I said, we're starting from a basic OCR where we digitize the document and try to read what's in there. And then we have core technologies to back this up with content-based classifiers to categorize and the content and use taxonomies that are industry specific and EMP specific to customize that can be customized. We use natural language processing inside to tag places, companies, or certain information like fields and basins. This will construct a summary and an outline of the essential information that's actually inside the document. Machine learning based algorithms will help us get more insight into these documents from the figures and elements in there, such as tables, maps, or logs and well sections. So the idea is that this user added and machine generated metadata that we have in our unstructured document and along with the structured document that we have is enriched to enable the domains to find the document easily and extract information from it easily. All of this is provided by the DELFI shared services, so it's shared across all the applications that are native to the DELFI. So here we can see that the data that's actually inside the ecosystem is actually accessible in the applications that are running on top. So hence accessible to the users from the multi-domain. But it's not just the applications that can benefit from this data. We also made it available through an API gateway where other applications can benefit from the insight. Customers can build their own services or plug in their own application, which makes the service very extensible. So the data is not just locked into this data ecosystem, but also exposed to other applications to be able to use it. So how do we, what happens after the data is ingested and is actually enriched? How do we actually use this data use this document in our workflows, and what workflows will we follow to get the best out of this information? So essentially, we don't have a particular workflow. We allow the users or the applications themselves to best determine what's the workflow that they actually need. And what we do is provide services and widgets that exposes the data and the metadata for the applications to use. So I'll give you some examples that are specific, but also very customizable and versatile, depending on the scenario that they're being used in. For instance,
this meeting is being streamed.
For
Sorry, Anna. I think you can continue.
Yeah, I just hear an echo.
Yeah. Let me see if it's your audio. Just a second. So Jorge had some issues. We are having echo. So just wait 1 minute. 1 minute to reconnect. 1 second. Sorry, Hannah. So I think the echo is fixed.
Okay. I know I can still hear myself.
I'm listening to your echo. Just try once more. Just few seconds. Sorry.
No problem.
Jorge.
Okay. Hello.
Okay.
Sorry.
So we still with echo problem. We are all here, but the echo persists. Just a second.
I can still hear it. Yeah.
So, Jorge, I will try to go to the lobby and come back because maybe the echo is my problem. When
Test. Is it okay for you? Rana?
Yeah. I can. Yeah. Still hear.
Still echo. Igor is saying without him, but everybody's with an echo, so we can proceed like this.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Igor, everything is with echo.
Okay. So just wait a little bit until we fix it. Rana, can you try to share again your screen?
Yes, of course. Yeah. Okay. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. So if
Shall
you can
I carry on
recap
now?
just a little bit.
Sure. Okay. So I'll start again from this.
Thank you and
okay.
sorry.
No problem. Okay. So looking at an example of how the document might look like once it's actually ingested and once actually enriched into an actual workflow within an application, a native application. So we don't actually have a particular workflow or a set of workflows that we tell the users to do, but what we do is encourage the users to of different domains to find their own workflow that is best suited to their work. What we do provide is services and widgets that expose the documents and expose the metadata that has been enriched. So this particular example, I'm going to give you a couple of particular examples that are specific done for these applications, but also versatile enough for them to be used and slightly modified so that they can be used somewhere else. So this particular widget that you're seeing here is used for an application called Products, a native application in DELFI. This is a production operation solution. In this application, they have workflow engine that produces these warnings for cash flows for particular wells if they are running out of cash. And this widget is actually embedded within the system so that it runs a query in the background to search for wells with similar warnings in the documents. So maybe you will search for wells that are near and within a certain radius that previously had the same warnings, so that maybe the user will be able to find a solution within these reports. I mean, this query can be then modified to extract a particular set of information, or to have a bit more of an open query so that the user can able to enter even more keywords and narrow down their searches. Another example here, another two examples are used in FD Plan and Explore Plan, a field development planning solution and an exploration planning tool. Here in these screenshots, you'll see document summary pane. So what the user does is enter a particular search word, keyword, or particular search word that they want to search the reports for. So a certain field or a certain well or a certain phase. And then they're presented with the all the documents or all the hit results. Once the user clicks on these, they are presented with all the metadata that has been extracted, including elements of the documents or facts. So things like tables, forms, and logs, they're all shown in here. The user then is able to extract the information, either review the information that you have in a summary to ensure to see if this is the document or this is the information they're looking for. But what's more, they can actually click on a document and view it in a dedicated document viewer within this interface, and then they can actually choose to either include the document in the field planning development plan, or they can further dig into the document and extract certain elements. So, for example, extract a certain table, extract a certain log. So, not just go even further than just extracting the information from the document. Our ultimate goal really here is to extract the elements themselves within the documents. Like I said, we want to be able to build specific extractors for data that might be found in these documents using our data science algorithms. We'll be able to re-ingest this information back into the ecosystem and make it actually structured data that's actually used in the workflows, the domain workflows. For example, we have focused on initially we have wanted to identify logs within these documents, because as you know, logs are quite popular in these documents, and you quite often you find them and you want to extract them and digitize them. So we have a team of data scientists working to build a log extractor. So after we have ingested the document and we are able to extract all the information we need from it and isolate the log trace from within that document, then we want to actually digitize this log trace and actually use it within our applications. So not just for logs, we want to do this for all types of information that we have in there, all types of data types, such as raster images, all types of logs, or even cross sections. So this technology is open. We provided the APIs from it, and we provide the pipeline for clients and users to be able to use their own data science and the machine learning algorithm to build their own specific extractors. So imagine doing that for more and more data types as a community. It's very exciting for the futures of unstructured data. So to recap, what is our principles here? What is our data liberation principle? Basically, we want to keep the data that we have stored deep in data repositories. We want to liberate this data and keep it alive and make sure that we actually extract as much information from it as possible, increasing the transparency of this information within the application that we use, within our workflows, and in any domain that we are working in across multiple teams. We aim to have this data open to all the users from one single place. To end up with an enriched workflow for all of these domains. This brings me finally to summarize the data cognitive NAP and environment openness and its key enabler to realizing the vision of transforming the upstream oil and gas for the better. Through openness, we have liberated data to securely flow from storage, from deep repositories to multi-domain applications running on the cloud, enabling teams to work seamlessly across the same live data, breaking down silos. We have open sourced our data ecosystem to contribute to the OSDU forum, in the hope to accelerate the delivery of the data platform and providing a vast capabilities and experience to the oil and gas industry and oil and gas operators. Innovation is also powered by the DELFI development portal. As I mentioned, we enable access to array of API and shared software and services to create and publish and share new approaches to industry challenges that we face every day. So thank you very much for listening, and I'm open for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Rana. We have time for one or two questions, and let me just ask the first one. So, would it be possible to feed the DELFI repository with our own repository? Let's say instead of copying the data from our repository to DELFI, having DELFI reading from our own data. See what I mean?
So, can you repeat that, please? Sorry, I didn't hear about that.
So, let's say instead of copying the data across to DELFI, would it be possible to have the DELFI platform reading directly to our own repositories?
Yeah, yes, if you have the connection open and if you have the API to support it, then you'll be able to ingest the data through either the API for that application, yeah,
okay.
And then build something that's customized on top.
Okay, I saw a presentation a couple of months ago where I think you were using the same technology, and one of your colleagues was showing that you could build a net to gross map based on papers. So you have a lot of papers from a given area, and then you would, based on the wording and the values inside those documents, you would build a net to gross map and would put it in Petrel. And at that time I asked, okay, is this live already? And he said, okay, no, almost there. And now I ask you, how far are we from that reality?
There we have different teams working on different elements. So like I said, the data extractors are very particular to that certain data type and what you're actually looking for. So for example, the log one I gave an example with, I know the team have actual algorithms to extract that particular log. I'm not sure exactly where that team that you mentioned is up to at the moment. But it's something that anybody could work on and can build something like that for the data science. So yeah, it's possible and it's very, very near.
Okay. Thank you. Let me just check if we have any other question. No, not at the time. Okay. Final reminder: everybody that has questions to Rana, please use the question icon on the bottom of your screen, and then we'll follow up through email. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Rana. So we have finished this day of presentation into room 1 of the 7th Galp Open Day. We would like to thank you all for attending this event and for the very interesting presentation. And it will be a pleasure to have you here tomorrow at 2 p.m. at the room 1 for the debate Economic Impact and Outlook on the oil and gas sector. So thank you so much for you all, and thank you.